I appreciate you all welcoming me here this morning. Will you turn with me to Matthew chapter 5, looking at verse 6. It's a short verse, but you can glance through the rest of the chapter. I'm sure you know this story. Hear these words from Jesus' teaching in the Sermon on the Mount. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Future Problem Solvers, or FPS for short. We didn't have t-shirts, but we should have. We were the coolest group of the academic team, even if we were the only ones that thought so. So when I was explaining this to my peers at school, they didn't really know what I was talking about. But I'm sure most of you have heard of, or maybe even been on the academic team yourself. For those of you who don't know, it's a way for the smart kids to compete with their smartness. For those of us that weren't necessarily gifted in sports, it was a way to earn a few trophies for ourselves. Or maybe just certificates. There's the quick recall group. They answered trivia questions. And the written assessment, they wrote things. And then the best of them all, the future problem-solving team. That was the team that I was on, if you can't tell. We are a group of 4 or 5 brilliant minds with the ability to solve problems of the future. For competition, we'd be given a classroom to ourselves, a prompt with an issue of the future, such as artificial intelligence or nanobots, and an hour and a half to formulate and articulate our solution. I'll save you all the details, but after much discussion and brainstorming, we were each responsible for a piece of the written solution that was strictly formatted. My job was the underlying problem statement. It was my job to take our 45 minutes of brainstorm ideas and narrow it down. In a short statement, I had to articulate what we saw to be the problem and thus the goal of our solution. I loved my job. It was the best feeling ever to be able to take this huge issue and narrow it down to a single problem with a realistic plan for a solution. I felt like I had accomplished something. My statement is what crossed us over from the overwhelming feeling of an unsolved problem to the satisfaction of an imagined successful solution. Unfortunately, if you know me at all, I did not outgrow this weird enjoyment of problem solving. There's something about that feeling of tinkering with the problem and stepping back and seeing it complete. You know what I mean. The best piece of the puzzle is the last one, and the satisfying feeling that comes with placing in its spot and seeing the image come together, or the last number of a Sudoku, or the last word that fits perfectly in your crossword puzzle. You know that feeling when something before you is a little bit wonky or overwhelming or too broad, and you need to put it back into place, get a handle on it, or simplify it so that you can feel content again, complete, and in control. The world feeds on this natural desire for contentment and wholeness. There's a solution for almost every problem. For hunger, there's food. For thirst, there's water. For homelessness, shelter. For money, a job. For the cold, a good coat. More importantly, a solution sells if it's the quickest and easiest. We crave instant gratification. If you're uncomfortable with your weight, just try this 2-week intensive workout class. Or if you don't have time for that, just try this pill. If you struggle with mental illness, try these simple steps for blending in as much as possible so people don't notice. Or if you don't have time for that, just try this pill. If you have too much work to do and not enough time to do it in, there's an app for that. And you can be productive anywhere you can take your phone or mobile device. As Westerners, we often look at our third world countries and we see their problems and how they can be fixed with our solutions. When we see issues outside of our own, we quickly look for a solution so that we don't have to look at the problem any longer. Because you know, the worst is seeing a problem unfinished. Like a puzzle puzzle with one missing piece, and all you notice is that huge hole and the disappointment of not being able to really complete it. We are uncomfortable with the discomfort that comes with not having the solution and not being able to fix it all the time.